the thing that inspired me to make this channel in general was someone you might know very well. Name's Dennis Prager. Smart man, intelligent, old geriatric Superman looking guy, right? Very smart guy. Says very smart things like it's good to be a nationalist. Israel should kill all the Palestinians because they're bad, you know, things like that. War on Christmas is murdering Americans, you know, normal, reasonable stuff. And he has this university you might have heard of called Prager University, right? And it's apparently a real accredited university according to the way they portray it. But instead of having a curriculum with teachers and a building or, you know, any sort of facility, their program consists entirely of 5-minute videos that you can learn an entire course worth of work in 5 minutes. Pretty incredible, honestly. Some like future technology shit that we're talking about, right? Like this is like PragerU's living in 2095 right now. You gotta catch up, right? They're hitting the 22nd century already. So, what does PragerU have to say today, baby? Let's look at one of PragerU's newest videos. Confessions of an Environmentalist. All right, let's hear it. I'm curious.
Just because you feel like you're doing the right thing doesn't mean you are.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
I have dedicated most of my life to
Brian Gitt. This is where we start, okay? Because the last time I looked into one of these videos, they had on the Greenpeace guy. You know, the weed killer guy? You guys ever seen the weed killer incident? Oh my god, dude. It's hilarious. What's his name? I can't think of it off the top of my head. Weed killer. Oh, come on. Who is it? Here it is.
Do not believe that glyphosate in Argentina is causing increases in cancer.
Roger
you
Moore,
can drink
I
a whole
say?
quart of it and it won't hurt you.
All right. This is the best thing that has ever happened to humanity. Check this out, okay?
Do not believe that glyphosate in Argentina is causing increases in cancer. You can drink a whole quart of it and it won't hurt you.
You want to drink some? We have some here.
I'd be happy to, actually, but not really. But
not really?
I know it wouldn't hurt me.
If you say so, I have some.
So he's like, you could drink a whole quart of it. It won't hurt you. Oh, we have some here, actually. If you want to prove us entirely correct, you can drink some. That's fine. And then he's like, yeah, I would love to. Absolutely. Not really.
If you say so, I have some glyphosate.
No, I'm not stupid.
Okay, so you.
No, but I know
so it's dangerous, right?
No, people try to commit suicide with it and fail fairly regularly.
Tell the truth.
It's not dangerous to humans. No, it's not.
So you're ready to drink one glass of glyphosate?
No, I'm not an idiot. Interview me about golden rice. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, then it's finished. Then the interview is finished.
That's a good way to solve things.
Yeah.
So that's the super genius that the PragerU channel had on as one of their instructors one time. So it's always good to look into these people, right? So let's look. Brian Gitt. I help investors in energy sector maximize returns while making a real contribution to raising standards. My investment thesis is that nuclear and natural gas will be the biggest winners in the energy sector over the next 20 years. I draw on 20 plus years of industry experience to expose false beliefs about renewable energy and the problems with the environment. Social governance narrative. Wow, he calls it the ESG, Environmental Social Governance Narrative. See an example of how false beliefs about renewable energy are driving bad decisions and harming the environment. So his position is that he is an environmentalist because he thinks that natural gas is the correct way to go. just wowzers. This is his website I'm reading from. Look, briangett.com, right? Hello, I am Brian Gitt, right? Yeah, like, it's ridiculous. Wowzers. Wonder if he's got a Wikipedia. It's fun. You can always learn so much on Wikipedia, and it's cool because you can always just check the sources that they use. God, dude. How Solar Hurts People by Brian Gitt. False beliefs about renewable energy are harming the environment. I say this as someone who championed renewable energy for over 2 decades. First as executive director of a green building nonprofit, then CEO of a consulting firm specializing in clean energy. I thought my efforts were helping to protect the environment, but I was wrong. Like many people, I believe the worst harm to the environment came from fossil fuels and greedy companies exploiting the land, polluting the air, and destroying ecosystems to get them. I thought that all the ways that scientists say that people are harming the environment is how people are harming the environment. But I was wrong. All right, so what is it? The truth, every energy source has costs that need to be carefully weighed. Most people are familiar with the benefits of wind and solar, but they don't understand how it could hurt both the environment and people. Solar costs, okay? Solar benefits, low CO2 emissions, better air quality. Wealthy people feel better about their consumptive lifestyles. Okay, let's see. Unreliable and makes the power grid more susceptible to blackouts. False. Try again. Electricity costs are higher. False. Try again. Inefficient land use and destroys wildlife views and natural habitat. False. Try again. If you want me to go through these, I will. These are really straightforward and easy. Inefficient land usage is incorrect because if you do it properly, what you do is install solar panels not on grids that go everywhere, but onto individual homes. That way the power grid has less overload, right? So if I install a solar panel on my house, I then generate my own electricity. And if everyone in my city has solar panels on their homes, right, or on the apartment buildings to help it run better, right, those things will work for that building. The power grid then has less electricity that it has to generate by itself. So that is objectively false, right? Shorter lifespan than other power sources, about half as long as natural gas and nuclear plants. Okay, I would love to look into that one. Solar panels are not easy to recycle and often dumped in poorer countries. Okay, so that's a problem with distribution. Okay. Manufacturing requires lots of energy and creates high levels of CO2. Not if you use solar to produce the what are you? Oh my god, dude. Holy shit. This guy's brain is fucking rotted. Wow, I wonder who pays him. Like, he's got to be a multi-millionaire for the propaganda he's pushing out, right? Promoting solar over fossil fuels keeps developing countries in energy poverty. Not if we are willing to provide them with the fucking renewable resources, right? The issue is that we had an industrial revolution where we used CO2, fossil fuels, to burn everything up and build whole communities, right? And we did that, and then we realized that it was bad. And then we were like, no one else can do that. That's bad. It's hurting the planet. And it is. But the rest of the countries still have to go along, right? They have to get where we're at some point. Solar panels require 10 times the minerals to deliver the same quantity of energy as a natural gas plant. Okay, I'll look into that one. 80% of solar panels are made in China, where weak environmental regulations prevail. Okay, so manufacture them here then. Holy shit, it's like this dude was like, I used to be an environmentalist, and then I realized capitalism exists, so now I'm not an environmentalist anymore. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Diverts resources for more efficient strategies for reducing climate risk. Like what? What? Like what? The only one I can think of is like fusion power, right? Like, that's it. What other ways? Like, if we're investing in natural gas, we're going to be polluting. If we're investing in coal, oil, we're going to be polluting, right? Solar doesn't pollute as much. End of story. Like, all of this is wild to me, dude. Wild. All right, we're gonna listen. We're just gonna
protecting the
listen.
environment.
All right,
But
let's
I
go.
went about it in the wrong way. I thought I was acting morally, protecting the well-being of people and the planet. In fact, I was harming both. I believe solar and wind power were the future, our only hope of avoiding an environmental catastrophe. Fossil fuels were the enemy, extracted from the earth by greedy companies plundering the land, polluting the air, and destroying ecosystems. Keeping the wilderness as pristine as possible was my passion. Ever since I was a teenager, I've loved the outdoors. I led mountaineering expeditions in Alaska, spent months backpacking in the Rockies, and climbed the highest peaks in national parks. I only took jobs I thought would protect the environment. I started a company that built composting systems for cities and businesses. I served as executive director of an organization that championed green construction policies. And then I became CEO of a consulting firm that worked on making homes more energy efficient. At that time, the Obama administration had earmarked billions of dollars in federal funding to.
So I just want you to notice that no arguments have been made. For the first 20% of the video, we're just talking about how he's a good guy that totally loves the environment, right? And that's it. That's all we've covered so far, right? So right now he's like, I love the environment. I went camping. I go hiking sometimes. I've been on a mountain once. It was nice. I worked for a company that did the green stuff, right? I'm not going to tell you the company or what they actually did, but it was environment stuff, right? It was good stuff, right? And then we're getting to the point where it flips, but I want you to notice that there's been nothing said of substance yet, right?
To create jobs in the energy sector. And my company won multi-year contracts valued over $60 million. I thought I was making a real difference in the world. I was surrounded by smart, successful, and ambitious people who shared my beliefs and my heartfelt desire to change things. And my company had lots of money and lots of government support. There was only one problem. Our project to build more energy-efficient homes was an utter failure.
Why?
Making home energy improvements was much too expensive for middle-class families.
Okay, so solar panels are expensive. That's the problem. That's the problem. Solar panels are expensive. Therefore, oil and gas is the way to go, baby. That's it. That's what we got to do. We got to do gas and oil, right? The solar panels are expensive. Wow.
Even with generous government subsidies, wealth.
No, they're not. I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you right now, personally, all I would need, given the government subsidy, because West Virginia has a rebate on this, right? All I would need is a no interest loan for the down payment, and I would save money on my electric cost. That's it. If the government gave out no interest loans on down payments for solar panels, I would personally stop paying electric costs. It's that simple, right? It is entirely achievable for middle class families. It is entirely achievable. All we need is something to give them the down payment to pay the company to put it on. That's it, right? That's it. Very easy.
Wealthy families, by contrast, loved the program. They got subsidies they didn't need in the environmental cred they craved.
I want you to notice that, like, in this case, what he's doing is producing like an argument against capitalism. He's saying poor families can't afford it and rich families can, and they didn't need subsidies, but they got them anyway. So, like, what you're telling me is that the rich capitalist class has the ability to afford luxuries that other people can't, right? And that it's easier for them, if they want to readjust their lifestyle to be more in line with the way that the world should be, but that they have to fucking leave low income families in dire straits when it comes to their electricity costs. Like, it's just an argument against, like, capitalism, right? This isn't an argument against environmentalism or solar panels.
In reality, though, we weren't achieving much of anything, except wasting taxpayer money. That's not how the government saw it. The government celebrated the project as a big win. It was a great photo op.
I want you to notice, again, one more time, what's the name of his company? What is it? For real. Anyone notice? He didn't fucking say it. You know why? Because then you could look into it easy. You'd be like, oh, is that true? And then type the company in. Instead, you have to look him up. And you know what happens when you look him up? You get his site. And his site doesn't mention the company's name either. Because I bet if we found out what company he worked for, we would get a different story from what Homeboy's telling us. Guaranteed.
Swap for politicians, but I knew the program didn't deliver the jobs and energy savings we had promised. Maybe I should have accepted the props and kept doing what I was doing, but I couldn't.
Maybe I should have been okay with like actually improving people's lives or whatever, but I can't because I got paid a lot of money by the Koch brothers.
I began re-examining everything I'd believed
Go
about
for
energy and the environment.
Sure,
It
let's
didn't
go.
take me long to realize that I had been living in a fantasy world, perfectly fine for making me feel good about myself and my mission, but perfectly useless for making real environmental change. The more research I did, the more I realized that my project was just a symptom of a much bigger problem.
Which is?
We're wasting trillions of dollars on the false hope that wind and solar power are going to replace fossil fuels, oil, coal, and natural gas. Yet, over the last 20 years, the world's dependence on these fuels has declined by only 3 percentage points, from 87% to 84%. That's a pathetic return on our investment.
I think I just got dumber. I think my brain just got dumb. I have less gray matter after that. Yeah, you just said that where we need the majority of solar panels, they're not going because they're inaccessible, right? So why would we expect a high return on investment on something that we're not giving to the areas that need the investment, right? Like, I don't. Your company's whole thing was to make money. Companies only exist to make a profit. So it's not like you were going around to poor people's houses, giving them loans at no cost, or just putting solar panels on their houses, right? You just said that you couldn't do that because you wouldn't be able to afford it. So the people that use the most energy and could benefit the most from literally one solar panel are not getting that done. Real straightforward. That's okay. It's all right. It's all right. One day, man, I swear to God, my brain will stop getting dumb when I watch these.
If we're serious about confronting climate change, protecting the environment, and helping people climb out of energy poverty around the world, we need to stop chasing fantasies. Instead,
just so you know, it does say on his website, I was chasing the clean energy unicorn. So this is like his shtick. Like the Koch brothers wrote a script for him to follow, and he's been following it ever since.
it's time
Actually, I'm sorry, I keep saying the Koch brothers, but it's probably the Wilkes brothers, because that's who funds PragerU. So if he's appearing on PragerU, he's probably taking subsidies from the Wilkes brothers, not the Koch brothers.
Honestly examine all the costs and all the benefits of every energy source: wind, solar, oil, coal, natural gas, and nuclear.
Wait, there's one missing there. Actually, there's two missing there, right? One of them we don't talk about at all, and I'm kind of curious. I spoke about it last time we were talking about this stuff. I'm kind of curious about geothermal, right? I don't know. I have not looked into it. I don't know whether it's possible or not, but in theory, you could just dig a hole real deep, right? Real fucking deep. But you just dig a hole, real small hole, real deep, right? And then have energy for fucking ever, right? In theory. But I don't know. Again, I have not looked into it at all. But the other one is water power, right? Like hydroelectric power. And this is something that's really funny. There was a study done on the efficiency of oil compared to the efficiency of water, right? So if you go to an oil rig, 10 out of 10 oil rigs, I believe it was 7 of them fail in the first 5 years. Okay, so they get 3 to 4 years of stuff, and then at the 5th year they fail, right? Not only do they fail, but the efficiency rate when they're up and moving is about 40 to 50%. By contrast, hydroelectric plants don't fail. They just don't. They don't fail because they are maintained. So they will last for as long as they're maintained because the parts are really simple to fix and reproduce, and they're not digging something out. They'll never run out of the resource as long as the water keeps flowing, which, as long as the climate doesn't get too hot due to oil, we'll be able to keep going, right? But the big difference is that 40 to 50% energy efficiency we saw from oil, meaning only only 40 to 50% of what we get is actual energy. The rest of what we spend is maintaining it, right? Our efficiency rate on water power, by example, is in between 85 and 90%. Literally double the efficiency rate of oil. Literally double. Crazy, isn't it? But again, we're here at PragerU, so we're supposed to shut our brain off and learn.
Greenhouse gas emissions are a
I'm the
concern,
dum-dum.
but not the only thing we need to consider when discussing energy and the environment. Here are 5 principles to help us evaluate the best energy options to protect.
Hold up. I gotta take notes. Give me a second. Come on, dude. God, you're moving too fast. All right, got my pen. All right, let's take notes.
Both people and the planet.
What are these
1.
5 principles?
Reliability.
Reliability.
A reliable energy source provides power 24/7, 365.
No, it does. Wait, what? No, it doesn't have to. As long as you have proper storage, it doesn't matter, right? This would be like saying, like, the remote control to your TV should work all the time and never have a break. Like, no, as long as there's storage, it doesn't matter if it's constantly working, right? This is what batteries are for. They store energy to be used later. So as long as you have proper storage, it doesn't have to provide power 24/7, 365. It just has to have the equivalent power 24/7, 365. So you make up with the droughts in energy with floods of energy, right? You make up for the cloudy days with big fucking ridiculous bright days. You make up for the windless days with the stormy days, right? And as long as we have proper storage of batteries and things like that, yeah, we're fine.
States and countries that have doubled down on renewable sources face energy rationing and power blackouts. 2.
Citation for that one? I fucking made it up? That's what it is. That's what it is.
Affordability. The cost of energy affects the cost of everything else. If energy isn't affordable, ordinary people can't heat and cool their homes, and businesses can't make the products we want and need. 3. Security.
Right. So he didn't make any point on that when he just said that it needs to be affordable, which it is over the lifespan of, like, all right, we're looking it up. Now, solar panel save. So it says $1,500 a year. How long solar last? At least 25 years. At least 25 years, right? So if we're looking at 25 years, wow, dude, you're looking at like $40,000 over the course of the lifespan of that. So how much do they cost? So let's look at it. We're looking at the affordability for real. How much does a solar panel cost? Looks like it's about $15,000 to $20,000. Oh no. The cost of solar panel on an average sized home is about $14,000 at its highest. So They are affordable, is what I just read. It costs $14,000 to put them on your home, and it saves you $40,000 over the course of time. And that's using just standard things you can find on the internet, right? Like I don't understand. You can't say that the barriers to entry make them unaffordable and therefore we can't use them. There aren't barriers of entry for other things. Like, take a business, for example. A business saving, if a customer, like a regular house, is saving $1,500 a year, like, let's see, what's the average square footage of a house? We're doing a bunch of math right now. Square footage, average square footage of a house. So what we're looking at is about 2,000 square feet. Okay, so when I worked at Cabela's Distribution, there was a 1.2 million square foot facility. Okay, 1.2 million square foot facility. So 1, 2, doing it again, 1.2 million. So 600 times the cost is what we're looking at. So you're looking at $1 million a year over the course of 20. You're looking at $20 to $30 million saved. Like, $20 to $30 million is what you would save, right? And then same thing, cost is $11,000 to get it on. So how much does we're gonna go here? How much does it cost over the long run? If it's 15 grand to put it on your house, right? 15 grand times 600. So it'll save you $30 million, and it costs $8 to $9 million. So in total, that's a net of 20 mil that facility would save over the course of its lifespan. Over 25 years, $20 million and 20, like, what are we doing, right? That's unreal. That's so fucking much, dude. It's dramatic. So the only thing we have to do is encourage it, right? Real straightforward.
Controlling access to critical resources needed to produce affordable, reliable energy is essential to national security. Over-reliance on energy imports or minerals.
This is what I mean. Do it here then. Do it here then. It's real straightforward. This is, again, like a critique of capitalism.
From other countries puts our nation at risk.
Puts our nation
4.
at risk.
Scalability.
Get the fuck out of here.
Wind and solar resources are usually located far away from where people live and work.
Yes, but they don't have to be. This is what I mean. There are 5 principles, and so far 4, right? Isn't this 4? 4 of the 5 have been bullshit. Because they don't have to be far away from where people live. They can be on your fucking home. They can be on the top of your fucking apartment complex, right? Like, if you live in a big city, like I live in West Virginia, like I said, so I have a home, right? Like a standard fucking house, right? I don't live in an apartment complex because I live in a small town. There's like fucking 1,500 people here, right? Small town, okay? But if you live in a city, you can throw those bitches on top of the apartment complex, right? And that'll help power that apartment, if not power it entirely. We just saw the savings costs, right? So yeah, huge savings.
Making it difficult, expensive, and inefficient to transport energy to where it's needed.
Not if you put it on top of the homes. You don't have to store them away. You just put it on the house. I feel like I'm going insane here, guys. I feel like I'm
Fossil
going
fuel
nuts.
and nuclear power plants have safely operated for over a half a century within city limits. 5.
No, they haven't. Safely? Safely. Okay, all right, let's look at it. Natural gas deaths per year. An estimated 42 home structures are started every year with an average of 40 deaths. All right? Solar deaths per year. Come on. Oh, okay. So this is actually mortality rate in 2012 per terawatt hour, which is even better. Okay. So this gives you, if you look at, let's look at it. Come on. All right. So, according to Statista.com, known left-wing cuck site, right? Coal has over 100,000 per terawatt hour, right? Oil 3,600 per terawatt hour. Natural gas 4,000 per terawatt hour. Hydro 1,400. Solar is 400. An order of magnitude less. You cannot tell me that it is safely working with inside city limits when it's the third highest cause of death, right, out of all energy sources. You can't. No, come on, don't bullshit us. Literally lying, just lying. 5, land use.
Land use. The more land we need to produce energy, the more wildlife habitat we lose. A typical 1,000 megawatt nuclear power plant needs little more than 1 square mile to operate.
Oh my
Solar
god,
farms
dude.
need 75 times more land to produce the same amount of energy.
Wait. Compare that to natural gas. Don't compare that to nuclear. Nuclear is the most efficient when it comes to land. It's like the most efficient, naturally, right? Because nuclear power plants don't need a whole lot. They just need what they need, like whatever creates the reaction, something to contain the reaction, and a way to dispose of the waste. So like it's really, really small for that. That would naturally be the one that uses up the least land. Let's see. Which energy source needs the most land? Looking. Nuclear had the lowest. Like I said, dude, come on. Don't fuck with me. Okay, all right, let's see. Producing energy takes up land. The fact that you're forgetting today, after all, energy 0.4%. It's only 0.4%. Why do you give a shit? Oh my god, I'm dying. I'm murdering. Oh my god, I am being unalived as we speak. 0.4% of non-ice land. Unreal. Da, 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 da. Oh, the land required for electricity generation expands by 30 to 80 meters, 80 million hectares. And that number grows between 80 to 800 million hectares if the spacing around installations is included. So that means that when you're talking about wind farms, you have to include the space between the wind farms, right? Which is livable space most of the time, right? So shut the fuck up. Holy shit, dude. This is unreal. Wow. Okay. Yeah, this is just like all about nuclear, which, yeah, makes sense. Wow, dude. Yeah, so the amount of land used between them is roughly similar for all of the rest of them.
Farms need 360 times more.
Again, notice how he said 360 more times land? That's the figure that would include space in between. So empty land would be included in that. Land that in theory could be developed on. So, like, literally just lying to your face the whole video. We looked at all 5 of his little principles that he put out there and showed that all of them are fucking nonsense. Not to mention, when we're talking about solar, again, we don't need huge swaths of land to produce solar energy. Put them on top of the buildings. Put them on top of the fucking Walmarts. Put them on top of the distribution centers. Put them on top of your homes, on top of the apartment complexes. There's no reason we can't have residential and corporate solar panels on top of these buildings. It would save them money too. It would save everyone money. The issue is that it's being lobbied against. That's okay.
Still devoted to protecting the beautiful landscapes I fell in love with when I was a teenager, and I'm still committed to raising living standards, reducing pollution, and lowering greenhouse gas emissions. All these goals are achievable, but only if we're realistic and practical. Wishing won't make it so. I'm Brian Gitt for Prager University.
So I want you to notice that the whole time we watched this video, okay, the whole time this was happening, he was talking about 2 things, gas and solar, right? But if you look back at this, when he's talking about gas, right, anytime he mentions gas, he's either lying to you or also mentions nuclear at the same time, right? Fossil fuel, nuclear. So clearly this dude's idea is nuclear power, which again, actually isn't bad. If we looked at the amount of deaths per kilowatt or terawatt hour, I think is what it was. If we look at the number of deaths per terawatt hour, nuclear power has the lowest. It has the least land cost, the lowest amount of danger to it. The reason we think of it as poorly as we do is because of, places like Fukushima, Chernobyl, things like that freak us out because they're these huge, awful, often preventable, right, issues with nuclear power. Nuclear power is not actually that big of a problem, right? It is, generally speaking, safe, reasonable, right? And if this was just, hey, why don't we do nuclear power? I probably wouldn't have anything shitty to say about it because nuclear power overall is fine, right? I don't have a big problem with that. That's fine. But the issue is that he's on Prager University, right? He's here with PragerU, who are objectively funded by the Wilkes brothers, who are oil and gas billionaires. So when he says nuclear, he can't just say nuclear plants are safe and operate safely. He has to say fossil fuel too, right? So every time he wants to go to nuclear instead, fossil fuels has to be thrown in the mix. Now, again, I don't want to assume this dude's intentions, but if the Koch brothers were giving you hundreds of millions of dollars potentially, to do this nonsense, probably not hundreds, probably tens of millions of dollars at some point, to do nothing but talk about how bad fucking renewable energy is, you might be willing to take it, right? Especially if what you want is nuclear. If your whole thing is that you want nuclear power, railing against that and mentioning nuclear power every time you talk might be more likely to get nuclear power, right? But the issue is that you're still shilling for fossil fuel, right? Which are both bad and limited. We're not going to be able to create fossil fuels all over the place. Our energy is limited. We will run out of fossil fuels. In fact, on some estimations, we're looking at less than 100 years before all fossil fuels on the earth are gone. So if you want to preach nuclear, just fucking preach nuclear, my guy. It's okay. All right? We won't hate you. All right? I'll get along with you. All right? We can do it together, okay? We can both fucking push for fusion and permanent clean energy for everyone all the time, okay? It'd be great, okay? But don't throw in fossil fuels, all right? It's like the fucking, everybody has that one friend that they don't want to kick out of their friend group for some reason, but everyone knows that they're kind of a piece of shit or whatever, That's what's going on here, right? That's what's going on here. I don't know, man. Wild. PragerU. What else could we expect from him, though, right? This is standard. This is hitting the bar right where we would expect it.